Hey, good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Ricky Matthews here. Well, some of you probably were just woken up by a little bit of shaking or felt something odd across our area. We had a 5.1 magnitude earthquake this morning, very close to our region. In fact, one of the strongest we've seen in our region in a long time. This was a 5.1 located near Sparta, North Carolina. Now, that's roughly about, let's see, that's be about 20 or 30 miles east of the Tri-Cities. So let me show you what we've got this morning in terms of what happened and what we expect to see from this in the future. Now, earthquakes around here are nothing too abnormal, but what we do see sometimes, especially in our region when we get these magnitude 5.1s, is shaking felt across a large area because of how our rock is in our region. We can sometimes see, set my phone down here so I can talk here, and type this out. We're going to share this to our other Facebook page. All right, so I want to show you the latest map from the USGS. They are the ones who track the earthquakes. Let me show you where it was, okay? This was a 5.1, which is located east of the Tri-Cities. So here is the Tri-Cities, all right? There's South Holston Lake, there's Boone Lake, there's Watauga Lake, and here's where the actual earthquake occurred. So this 5.1 occurred approximately 8:07 a.m. this morning, according to the USGS. And many of you reporting feeling that this morning too in that area. So we'll click on it and we'll get some information on it. Here's the latest shake map from where it was felt. And if you felt this earthquake, you can go to the USGS website and you can click Feel Report Tell Us, because what that will do is send it to the USGS and it will kind of let them know where the earthquake was felt. And as a result from that, they'll make these cool maps and they can do some seismic information. Now, thankfully, a 5.1 around here is not incredibly strong for the shaking we would have felt. However, as you get into parts of Allegheny County here, just to the north of Stone Mountain Forest, when you look at the shake map, they're reporting kind of a very strong earthquake for that area, and it is. It's kind of a abnormal occurrence. Most of the quakes that occur in our region are typically on the range of around 2 to 3, and we see those pretty often. I'm going to try to pull up some of the seismographs here. Now, these are what would show the earthquake. Oh boy, there it is. That's not hard to find this morning. Sometimes it's hard to find these quakes, but there, just after 8 o'clock, was the earthquake that occurred in our region. So I'm going to switch my camera back around here and tweet this out. We'll tweet this picture here, and if you follow us on Twitter, you'll see seismograph. Of course, I just showed it to you as well. But a very interesting quake. USGS just updated this quake, so I'm curious to see what they say now about that, because when we get updates, sometimes they'll kind of change the time or change anything else. It's still 5.1, so they didn't change the intensity of it at all. Which we sometimes do. But there was the Virginia Tech helicorder. And what you're seeing here are the energy waves from the earthquake actually moving through the area and being picked up by the helicorder there located at Virginia Tech. These earthquake plots are down. This is interesting. Of course, this one was in North Carolina, so we'll have to go pull some North Carolina earthquakes here. But the most recent earthquakes in Virginia, kind of near that helicorder, were generally on the range of, here we go. So here's what I was looking for. These are the strongest quakes we've seen in the Sparta area over the past little bit. So interesting to kind of look, there really were no major foreshocks or anything. But that stronger one there. So I want to, I believe, I have some information on our website, maybe, our WCYB site. where I wrote up a blog post before. Strongest. So here's my weather blog from last time. So let's pull out some old information here and see what we have. So the largest Tennessee earthquake was a 4.7 back there in 1973. And here's more historical data, which has crashed this morning. Well, that's good. Guess we're not using that website. And here's the Hella plot we have in our area. So there's the Hella plot from our region. That's right there. There's the waves as they came across our region as well. And, you know, a lot of people kind of in the comments here talking about whether they felt it or whether they didn't feel it. Earthquakes in our area are kind of interesting because if you, you know, you were sleeping or you weren't awake or something, you probably did not feel it at all compared to people who were awake or, you know, kind of sitting down at breakfast. It hit at the perfect time because a lot of people were sitting down. A lot of people were sitting down at their house, and as a result, they felt it more than people who may have been driving, people who may have been walking. When the earthquake happened back in 2011, the I believe it was a 5.9 there in parts of Northern Virginia. I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we didn't feel it at all. I was walking to class at the time at UNC Charlotte, and I didn't feel anything then because I was moving. My cousins in Hampton Roads were standing up at the same time, and they didn't feel anything. But if you were sitting down, if you were, you know, kind of noting some things, like things on the wall or something like that, you can sometimes feel it a lot more in those areas where it's just a little bit more prevalent to you. So interesting always to see who feels it and if they felt it. So you can go on the USGS website. Once again, it's earthquakes.usgs.org. And I'll tweet this out on my page too and put it on my Facebook page as well. And say whether you felt it. So did you feel it? Yes or no. You put in your address. You use the map to verify if you did. And then kind of where were you? Were you in a vehicle? Were you asleep? Did others feel it? How would you describe the shaking? Did you react to it at all? Did you respond? And, you know, a lot of various questions too they ask you, kind of just for scientific research and bases like that to kind of figure out exactly what happened in terms of the impacts from that so they can study the earthquake and study the science behind it and get some more information. But interesting shake map and interesting impact map here in terms of this quake. Certainly was strongest as we looked into parts of western North Carolina, and it probably would have been, I'm not a complete expert in how waves travel, but I imagine it may have been a little stronger as you go further south into Charlotte because you got a mountain chain here, right? And so that may disrupt the waves a little bit compared to going south, where a lot of people felt it in Greensboro and Charlotte. And certainly people felt it here too, just perhaps not as strong as they felt it across parts of North Carolina. So very interesting quake when you look at it on that scale. So if you're just waking up, you're just tuning in, a lot of people probably, you know, wondering what the heck was that? A lot of people calling and texting each other. Like I started getting a lot of tweets. I started getting a lot of texts basically from people saying, hey, what was that? Yes, there was an earthquake this morning just after 8 o'clock. It happened around 8:07 a.m., a 5.1 magnitude earthquake, which is a rather large earthquake for our area, happened about 3 kilometers east of Sparta, North Carolina. In terms of where we are to that, let me pop up the interactive map and I'll show you. Here's Bristol, here's Kingsport, here's Johnson City, and further east towards Stone Mountain Park and Allegheny is where that earthquake was felt significantly, or where the epicenter of that earthquake occurred this morning. Now, further west, we still felt it, of course, across the Tri-Cities area. People felt it into Blacksburg, down into High Point and Salisbury, North Carolina. Charlotte, North Carolina felt some of the shaking, and even some viewers here in the comments talking about how they felt it in parts of Kentucky. It's not uncommon if you did not feel the quake, because a 5.1, especially around here, is one of those quakes that probably won't wake you out of bed, depending on how heavy of a sleeper you are, but you'll probably start to notice it, and some things on the walls moving, starting to see certainly like some, if you've got some things that don't sit too well in the house, or kind of looser in the house, you can feel it. If you were standing up, if you were walking, you're probably not going to feel it either. Let me rephrase that. You may not have felt it as much either compared to if you were sitting down. So, kind of the perfect time for this quake to occur, as I mentioned earlier, because a lot of people were sitting down, having breakfast, watching TV in the morning, and that's why they felt it so much. So we will continue to provide some information on this to you on social media. I'll also update a little blog post about this. And once again, if you felt it, report it to the USGS at their website there. I'll send the link out in just a minute. So I hope you guys have a great morning. Hopefully we stay calm in terms of our shaking. I don't expect any major aftershocks from this too, just because kind of where it was located. So there's always a small chance, but the likelihood that this was our larger quake is pretty likely. Now, there probably will be some aftershocks on the range of like a 3 or so in our area around that, but sometimes you don't feel those as much compared to the 5. The scale for earthquakes kind of increases exponentially. So you go from down here to 2, 3's up here, 5's up here, and onward and onward and onward, all the way until you get up to the stronger magnitudes, which thankfully we don't see around here very often. So anyway, that's the latest on the quake that happened this morning. I will keep you updated through the morning time frame, and we will see you later.